So this is the introduction. At the present, global business are operating in an environment characterized by increasing geopolitical tensions, growing cybersecurity threats, and frequent supply chain disruption. And these challenges are especially critical in high technology sectors such as semiconductors. And for companies like SmartTech Solution, advanced components such as a neural processing unit or NPU are strategic assets that require secure and reliable sourcing. However, SmartTech currently relies on a single supplier in China, which exposed the firm to a significant operational, geopolitical, and technological risks. So what was the purpose of the report? Well, the purpose of the report is to critically analyze SmartTech Solutions' current supply chain strategy. The focus is on identifying the key risks arising from its existing sourcing model, and to achieve this report applies systematic risk assessment and a SWOT analysis, which we will see, and it also evaluates supplier diversification and alternate source strategies before proposing recommendation to strengthen supply chain security, resilience, and long-term sustainability, which we will also see later. So let's look at the risk assessment overview. So in order to evaluate the risk faced by a SmartTech solution, we need to do SWOT analysis. And the company can source all of its NPU chips from a single source in China. And given rising the geopolitical tension and increasing cyber espionage threat within the electronic supply chain, this framework helps to systematically assess both internal and external risks associated with the current procurement strategy. So let's talk about the current procurement model for a SmartTech solution. They adopt a single source procurement strategy by sourcing all of its NPU chips from Silicon Prime in China. This approach prioritizes cost efficiency, technical consistency, and cross-supplier integration. This long-term relationship enables a stable production scheduling, simplified coordination, and effective communication, which contribute to positively short-term operational efficiency. However, there's a limit to that model. First thing first, despite this benefit, the procurement model has a major limitation, which is the heavy geographic concentration creates a single point of failure within the supply chain. Any disruption affecting the Silicon Prime in China can immediately halt SmartTech production of the NPU. Furthermore, the absence of supplier redundancy significantly reduces supply chain flexibility and resilience, particularly given the ongoing China-US geopolitical tensions. Alright, now let's look at the SWOT analysis and its implication. So, while SmartTech benefits from its supplier advanced NPU expertise and strong design compatibility, the company is fully dependent on a single supplier with no backup option. This creates a significant vulnerability, and although opportunities exist through multi-sourcing or nearshoring, serious threats such as the US-China geopolitical tension, trade restriction, cyber risk, and logistic disruption still remain. And overall, the analysis shows that the weakness and the threats outweigh the short-term benefits, making supplier diversification a strategic necessity.
SmartTech is implementing a supplier diversification strategy to reduce its dependence on a single Chinese supplier for NPU chips. Relying on one source creates vulnerabilities, especially with rising geopolitical tensions, trade sanctions, and cybersecurity threats. Diversification supports long-term supply chain resilience, as noted by OECD. So the first reason diversification is necessary is geopolitical risk. Ongoing US-China trade tension could restrict semiconductor exports, which would directly threaten SmartTech's ability to serve its primary market. Sourcing from politically different regions help minimize disruptions exposure. The second reason involves cybersecurity and intellectual property protections, which concentrated supply chains are increasingly targeted for cyber espionage and hardware tampering. Multi-region sourcing lowers the impact of potential breaches and strengthens IP security. The third reason is operational resilience. Multi-sourcing provides flexibility during logistics delay and demand fluctuations, while supplier competition improves bargaining power, quality consistency, and innovations as highlighted by Carl Jick sourcing model. So overall, diversification moves smart tech away from a risk single source model towards a more stable, secure, and adaptable supply chain. For SmartTech's diversification strategy, two alternative supplier regions were selected based on technological capability, political stability, and logistic performance, and cybersecurity maturity. These regions are Taiwan and Germany. So Taiwan represents the high-tech and cost-efficient option. It is a global leader in advanced semiconductor manufacturing and has strong expertise in producing high-performance chips such as NPUs. Its semiconductor ecosystem also benefits from integrations with broader Asian supply chains, enabling shorter lead times and efficient production cycles. However, there are regional geopolitical tension that require proper risk management. So for Germany, Germany represents the stability and cybersecurity focused option. It is politically stable, operate under strong legal and institutional frameworks, and is known for high manufacturing precisions and quality standards. Importantly, Germany is governed by strict EU cybersecurity and data protection regulations, which significantly strengthen intellectual property protections. The trade-off is that productions and logistic costs are higher. Strategically, both regions complement each other. Taiwan offers speed, innovation, and cost efficiency, while Germany provides security, regulatory reliability, and long-term risk buffering. Combined, they form a balanced and diversified sourcing model for smart tech and PU supply chain.
This slide compares Taiwan and Germany across the key supplier evaluation criteria. The strategic trade-off is clear. Taiwan delivers speed, cost efficiency, and advanced NPU innovation. Germany delivers stability, security, and long-term risk control. On the technical capability, Taiwan leads. Its semiconductor ecosystem is among the most advanced globally, especially in NPU and AI-related chips. Germany remains strong in precision engineering but is slightly behind Taiwan in cutting-edge NPU development. Cost structure and lead time further Taiwan. Efficiency production and proximity to the Asia-Pacific supply chain result in lower cost and fast delivery in China. Germany face higher labor costs, strict compliance and requirements, and longer logistic costs, which increase total cost and lead times. However, the balance shifts when we look at the stability and risk. Germany benefits from the strong financial resilience, strict regulation, and predictable macroeconomic conditions. Taiwan is financially stable but most exposed to regional volatility. Now, political risk is the most critical differentiator. Taiwan faces significant geopolitical uncertainty due to cross-strait tension. Germany and the European Union member offer a far more stable and predictable political environment. In cybersecurity, Germany has a clear advantage. European Union regulations such as GDPR and IS2 enforce very high security standards, while Taiwan remains more exposed to region cyber threats. In summary, Taiwan is optimal for performance, speed, and cost. Germany is superior for the resilience, security, and long-term risk management. This directly leads to our sourcing recommendation in the next slide. Based on the supply evaluation, our recommendation is a dual sourcing strategy. Taiwan should be positioned as the primary supplier, while Germany serves as a secondary strategic partner. The logic is straightforward. Taiwan offers superior technical capability, faster lead times, and a cost structure that supports high volume and innovation-driven NPU production. From a performance and competitiveness perspective, Taiwan is the most efficient option and should carry the majority of the supply. However, relying solely on Taiwan introduces unacceptable risks. Geopolitical tension in the Taiwan Strait creates potential disruption that could directly impact production continuity in the high-tech industry. A single disruption can outweigh years of cost saving. This is where Germany plays a critical strategic role. Although Germany involves higher costs and longer logistic routes, this provides political stability, strong financial resilience, and very high cybersecurity standards under European regulation such as GDPR and IS2. This makes Germany an effective risk buffer supplier rather than a volume leader. Together, this structure strengthens the supply chain, Taiwan-driven efficiency and innovation. Germany safeguards continuity and security. This approach aligns with Carl-Rich portfolio model. We balance cost efficiency with risk mitigation for strategically critical component rather than optimizing for cost alone. The outcome is clear: dual sourcing reduces geographic dependency, improves resilience against geopolitical and cyber risks, and ensures long-term operational stability. In short, this strategy protects performance today and continuity tomorrow.
Following the supplier diversification strategy, Smartech has restructured its physical supply chain into a multi-origin and multi-route logistics network. Instead of relying exclusively on China, the company now sources NPU chips from Taiwan and Germany. This design network significantly reduces geopolitical exposure and enhances operational continuity as alternative logistic corridors remain available in the event of port closures, trade restrictions, and other systemic disruptions. Despite supplier diversification, several critical nodes within the supply chain remain particularly vulnerable to disruption and security compromise. The first is the Port of Shanghai, which face congestion, regulatory complexity, and extensive third-party handling. The second is the Singapore transshipment hub, where frequent change in custody increase exposure to tampering or misrouting. The third is domestic warehouse prior to final assembly, where knowledge, storage, and access by multiple personnel elevate the risk of unauthorized interference. In general, empirical logistics security research consistently indicates the custody transfer points and storage interface represent the most critical vulnerability zones within international supply chains. Thank you. Despite supplier diversification, several critical nodes within the supply chain remain particularly vulnerable to disruption and security compromise. The first is the Port of Shanghai, which face congestion, regulatory complexity, and extensive third-party handling. The second is the Singapore transshipment hub, where frequent change in custody increase exposure to tampering or misrouting. The third is domestic warehouse prior to final assembly, where knowledge, storage, and access by multiple personnel elevate the risk of unauthorized interference. In general, empirical logistics security research consistently indicates the custody transfer points and storage interface represent the most critical vulnerability zones within international supply chains. Thank you.
First, we use blockchain to create a tamper-proof record of all transactions. This ensures real-time data access for all participants. Smart boxes automate contract enforcement and reducing manual delays. Meanwhile, tokenization digitalizes assets like raw materials, allowing us to track goods instantly and ensure product authenticity across the supply chain. Second, we implement CSCRM. Security must be integrated into the entire software development life cycle, from design to hardware disposal. And by managing our IoT and ICT infrastructure through this framework, we protect the enterprise from vulnerabilities and ensure all. Third, Permission blockchains provide a single source of truth for all partners. Using platforms like Oracle blockchain, we can automate transactions with autonomous recoverability. This reduces complexity and ensures high availability. Even during disruptions, by securely sharing information inside and outside the enterprise. And finally, dual sourcing eliminates dependency on a single supplier by engaging multiple sources. We ensure flawless operations. This strategy doubles capacity and slashes lead times from 4 weeks to just 2. It also allows us to optimize shipping costs and navigate regional tariffs effectively.